Right, I said I would take a look at this pinball made in 1932 by Keeney Sons, or, well, it's hard to say actually. I mean, it could have been made in Britain under license from Keeney Sons. But what I would say is the guy I bought off, Tony, he said it needed the coin mechanism working, well, sorting out. And as I often do with these things, I sort of always have a good look, because spend a good 15-20 minutes looking around, see if you can figure it out. But bear in mind, this is an early pinball, and basically it's bagatelle in the case, isn't it? What it does have, if you notice, it has these free play holes. Now, I would imagine that when the ball drops into the free play, it will appear back here. But if you look, can you see there's a shutter there? Well, behind this wooden playfield is a metal sheet with these holes cut in it, and the sheet can move up and down. What will happen is, let's say you scored 400, that shutter should be completely closed and the balls will sit in it, and it'll be like that until you've played all the free ones at the bottom. So with a little bit of deduction, we can work out how this thing actually operates, how the coin mechanism operates, how the ball lift operates. Because bear in mind, it drops through the holes, but it's got to be at the right height for that, for the plunger. So let's lift off the top and have a look at the inside. So right, this is the underside of the playfield. See all the holes through the top there, and it's got a convenient place to put this post in that folds out the bottom, which is rather nice and easy to work on. But if you look in here, or look down the side, see the shutters opening. That would allow the balls to drop through, and the only thing that's going to allow the balls to drop through is the coin mechanism, which is here. So I don't think it will take much to work out how to release the balls. Obviously it will need to be sprung, so we'll look at that. So that is how the coin mechanism, and it accepts a 2p coin in here, not 2p, a penny, and the action of that allows you to, I would think, push that forward, which would then release the shutter and allow all the balls into this trough. But you do have to manually load it. On more modern pinballs, they've got an electro-mechanical affair that automatically loads the balls, but on these early ones it was like this, and you've got a handle that brings this up from the bottom. Bearing in mind that side is covered up when the table's down, so when the shutter is open, the balls will drop into here, and then when you put in another penny, you'll be able to use the ball lift ready to load up against the plunger. So effectively we've got two entirely different mechanisms. On a free play, for instance, you'll be able to operate this lever, the game's in play, but I would think that when there is no money in the machine and all the balls have been played, you will not be able to lift this. So that's what we've got to work out, is when there's no money in it, what it is that stops this lifting up. As far as that's concerned, I think there's a long spring missing. I have got some, but that's more or less how this works. It's a very, very simple affair. This thing lying in the bottom is called a damper. You can almost think of it as a small bicycle pump, and what it does is it allows air to escape very slowly. Oh, somebody's got, is it a screw in it? The end, yeah. So the idea being is that when you open the shutters, they slowly move back against the weight of the spring, and then the whole game's in play again. I suspect that this shutter isn't as free moving as it could be, but we'll look at that as we come to it. But that's basically how this works. That's how the loading mechanism works. So you put your penny in, you move this forward, which activates this on the side, allows all the balls to roll out the end here, because they'll have dropped through, and into the ball trough, and then you manually load it. But as I say, without any money in it, you should not be able to manually load it. So it's just a case of working out what it is. There's a few bits missing in this, but they'll be easy enough to make. There's nothing really overly complicated about this, I don't think. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to crack into it and see if we can get it running on a old penny and be able to play it. I suspect there'll be little bits of adjustment needed here and there. There generally are on these old pinballs. But all in all, you know, considering 1932, well, you work out how old that is. That's a pretty old machine. Originally this top, this would have all been a mahogany finish, and it's been painted, which is alright, there's nothing wrong with painting it. But I do have some mahogany, so at some point when I get my router out, I shall cut the widths of these strips and finish the edges off so they're round, so they're exactly the same as this, but in mahogany. I will replace it and put it back to what it was. Not too worried about the case. That's been painted a dark grey, which actually is quite common. A lot of people do it, and personally I like the look of it, you know. Yeah, you could rub it all back, and I'd imagine the sides are possibly plywood. It sort of looks it, it's got that. It won't really focus, but you know, I suspect the sides are probably ply and then stained in a dark wood, probably to match this top rail. Anyway, that's how it works. Very difficult when you've got something as old as this and that doesn't have any reference photos. The company Keeney Sons went out of business a year after this machine was made, all part of Prohibition, because originally these machines were made in Chicago, and I gather, although I went to Oxford to do this, a lot of these were sold by a company in London, in Holborn, I think. So whether they imported these machines and then altered them for British currency, or they simply made an exact copy of it under license or something like that, I don't know. But also there was an engineering shop in Coventry that I think made all the mechanics for the UK market. But there you go, that's how it works. Put your penny in, that moves forward, that allows the balls to drop into this trough, and then by hand you lift it up, ready to load it in for your next shot. Great stuff, isn't it, really? Well, that's it. I seem to have worked out how it works anyway. As I say, the next job is to actually get it working. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.